Brian kissed me and asked if I'd want to come back to his place. I was still a virgin at this point, but I was ready for Brian to claim my V-card, so I said yes. Since I wasn't well versed in hookup culture at this time, I assumed having sex together meant Brian and I were going to be boyfriend-girlfriend. I became more and more desperate, texting him constantly and asking if he wanted me to send him nudes, to which he told me he wasn't into that sort of thing. Welcome back to Delve Deck Stories. Today we are reading some not my proudest moment stories. Our first story is from Anonymous, and it's What's Your Not My Proudest Moment story from the venting deck. I blacked out and woke up in prison.
Canon event. Everyone needs it.
Just a few months ago, a few of my friends and I had the idea to celebrate Mardi Gras in the heart of it all, Alabama.
Wait, that's not... No. Having Mardi Gras in Alabama feels like the Temu version.
We loaded ourselves into a car and drove the 5 hours to our Airbnb before going out for the night. If you're going to drive 5 hours, make it 10 more and go to Louisiana.
Yeah.
Some people don't have that time test.
Oh my God. You went on a vacation
To Alabama.
We had obviously been pre-gaming to save some money, so by the time we were going out to the bars and other festivities, we were properly drunk. The first place we stopped at was a cool open layout bar, although I'm surprised I remember it at all. I was really going strong for about 30 minutes at the first place, and then the rest of the night was completely gone for me. I woke up the next day with the worst hangover of my life in a jail cell, which we've determined is a canon event that none of us have experienced yet.
Yeah.
Maybe when we go to Alabama.
You guys, I'm saying there is unlimited opportunities.
I just want to know what timeline stems off waking up in a jail cell after being drunk. Like, if that's the canon event, like, where am I going in life?
I think we're about to find
Am
out.
I going somewhere good?
You guys might be past the
Sounds
point where
like
it's okay.
maybe-
Oh, wow. Okay, now she's
Not.
judging us for potentially being alcoholics and getting found in a... Okay, all right, you know what? Okay. Anyone can wake up drunk in a jail cell. It's not discriminatory.
You can do it at any age.
Yeah. And you know what? The older you are, the better it looks.
The more you have your life together. You should really do it when you have the most to lose.
Like with a family and children and a mortgage. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The obvious questions are racing through my mind. How did I end up here? What did I do? And I don't have much time to muse as an officer walks in and opens my jail cell. Your pickup is here. I was marched out to my friend, let's call him Steven, with probably the most disappointed expression on his face. He didn't say a word to me until we were in the car and on our way to the Airbnb. He probably had to pay a lot of money to bail you out. He's like, you an asshole.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to choose my words very carefully, so I'm not
like,
speaking.
You owe me money.
Yeah. I also didn't have any money to begin with, and now I have
I
less
had
than
to ask my
nothing.
mother to
Yeah.
bail you out.
Honestly, you went to Mardi Gras in Alabama. You're not rolling in it.
Are we hateful people?
Nah.
A little bit.
They chose to write this story. We're commenting on it.
Yeah. Like,
You asked to be bullied.
Yeah.
submit at your own risk. Dude, he started, you're a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Come to find out that when we were getting ready to leave the bar, I tried to carry a drink out. This is why you got to go to New Orleans, where you're just allowed to carry your drinks everywhere.
Yeah.
Or Ireland.
Or Vegas.
Yeah. Open container laws. They're nice.
Probably Nebraska or Montana, too. I feel like you can get away with a lot there.
I feel like, yeah, sure. Why not?
I mean, when you're surrounded by cornfields,
What are you
anything
gonna do
goes, right?
Other than walk around with an open
Yeah.
drink?
if
What else
anything,
is there to
just,
do?
put it in a cup or cover it up, like the brown paper bag method,
Yeah.
People know what you got in the bag, but
Honestly, you can open carry anywhere if you're smart about it. Open
That
carry
is true.
alcohol.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
Yes.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. But if you're in Alabama, you can definitely open carry the other way.
Yeah.
They're like, if you were carrying a gun out, they would have been like, that's fine, dude.
He just turned 3. He needs
So
his own Glock.
maybe you should have a fake gun that's got the alcohol in it.
Like a squirt gun.
Yeah, or just like open, twist up the top, boom, drink it, and at that point, everyone's gonna be like, "No, it's just a gun. Nah, whatever."
Alcoholic bullets.
Yeah.
We're on to something.
Patent it. Write it down.
Which wasn't a big deal. The issue was that I then tried to chug the drink before exiting the bar, which resulted in me choking on it and somehow spitting it back into the face of the bouncer. No one likes that.
Nope.
Steven goes on to tell me that not only did he try to stop the impending fight, but that I ruined his efforts by supermanning over him into the bouncer's waiting arms. What?
Did he go like both fists?
I hope. I think supermanning, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some people might have a pose where you're like this. Some people might have a pose like this. Some people might have a pose like just head first.
Maybe he was doing
Soldier Boy.
He was supermanning that hoe.
Yeah, that shows our age.
We then proceeded to roll around on the street outside the bar. I asked if I got any good hits in. He said no. But the scuffle was enough to draw the attention of the local equine police force. You got arrested by horses?
That's very cowboy coded.
I imagine that cops on horses, the horses are the actual cops.
Yeah.
They're the ones.
I feel well. They're the ones in power, and they're like,
horses have all the power.
We have no thumbs or fingers.
Which roughly translates to, the Miranda rights, whatever those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the right to remain silent.
Just like, I got to do it. The horse told me to.
It's
Pretty
reverse ratatouille.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
The police broke up the fight, but then Steven tells me I evaded escape, screaming, "The power of the man! The power of the man!" before being tased, loaded into a cruiser, and escorted to my first ever charge of public intoxication during Mardi Gras.
And also potentially resisting arrest.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't get arrested at Mardi Gras, were you even doing Mardi Gras right?
Right.
I don't know.
And if you didn't shit your pants after getting tased, were you even tased?
Asking the real questions here. So, not my proudest moment, but certainly one hell of a story. And I paid Steven not to tell my mom, but a family friend who peruses local Alabama arrest logs saw my photo and told her anyway. Lost my dignity and $100.
That's it?
I feel it. Yeah, Alabama, what? Like, they're like, money doesn't exist here. They're like,
we still exist on the barter system.
A carton of milk is still 5 cents.
But also, can we just acknowledge this person that was just like perusing the rest?
Especially, if they live in Alabama, then sure, because they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Time.
That's a good point.
But if you live somewhere else,
like every Sunday morning, you're like, let's look at what happened this week.
That is their newspaper, you guys.
Yeah.
Staying up in the know with the know.
Yeah, you have to. It's like People Magazine, but for Alabama.
Yeah.
All right. Our next story is from Anonymous. It's What's Your Not My Proudest Moment story from the venting deck. I faked going out to piss off my boyfriend. I believe in communication as a solution to many issues, but recently my boyfriend and I have been going through it. I know the normal response would be to break up, but I do love him. I love that breakup is in quotes. I'm like, just do it, girl.
Get out.
And we've been together for 5 years, so at a certain point, you just kind of stay. I get that, but it is the sunk cost fallacy. Just because you've put in 5 years doesn't mean you got to put in 5 more. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just got to get out.
I feel like maybe it'd be nice, though, to then interact with someone that you don't feel like you have to get back at all the time. That might be healthy for them.
Like if they left and got in a new relationship? Yeah, no, definitely. I think I'm currently team leave, as I usually am.
I am also team leave.
Anyway, we got into a big argument the other night and did not speak at all the next day. I believe that he messed up, so it's on him to make it better. So I stay silent and wait to hear from him. Petty or not, I don't care. Later that day, I hadn't heard a word from the man, but I see that he posted on Snapchat. To my surprise, I see that he's gone out with a friend after his workday, one that I detest him being out with because they are always a bad influence on each other. He knows I hate him being out with his friends, so naturally I could only see the silence all day Snapchat post and friend choice as a very clear message that he did not feel sorry. I think probably. That's how I would interpret that as well. I'd be like, you're not talking to me and you're doing, especially a Snapchat post. I feel like people love posting something on a story.
So you can see who watches it too, and you can see how quickly, like.
Yeah, unless, of course, she has a burner. You know, she has a fake account and she just happens to be following
him on her Finsta.
I mean, that's what I would have done.
You wouldn't watch your partner's stories on your main because you don't want them to know?
It depends. In this scenario, no, I'll watch my partner's stories all the time. But I'm saying in this scenario, if you have a,
because you're obviously watching to try to figure out what he's up to.
Bingo.
Smart.
She's using her brain over here.
Wow, thank you, Gabe.
Unlike other women.
Whoa, I didn't say that.
Wow, Gabe, you asshole.
All right. Today's been fun. See you later.
Now, I am in therapy, so I try not to get immediately angry and overreact. Instead, I go to my mind palace to plot. Got a plot in that mind palace, baby.
I've never heard anyone call it a mind palace before.
This mind palace. I imagine it's actually like a mind spy cave.
Like a dungeon almost.
Like going down like
like an Emperor's New Groove, Eastman Kronk.
Unlock.
I know he hates when I go out to bars without him because you know what guys are going there for. Okay, so he gets to go out with his bad influence friend, but you aren't allowed to go out to bars?
Well, yeah,
Red
because
flag.
women are just not as icky caca as men ever.
Yeah.
So men can do whatever they want.
I hate this man. But it seems only fair that if he were out, for me to go out too.
Get it.
No scheme is complete without an accomplice, so I call my best friend and tell her we have plans for the night. Not real plans, but she's immediately down to help me with whatever scheme I've doctored up. She starts posting on Snapchat, and you can clearly see me getting ready in the background for something.
I like it.
I post a Snapchat of us taking shots and our outfits, and then the real treachery begins. He has my location, and I know he checks it often. So I had my friend drive the two of us to the part of town where all the clubs were. I feel like checking it often is weird.
Yes. I was going to say that this feels a little like I own you, you're my property.
Yeah.
It makes me a little uneasy.
I
And by little, I mean a lot.
Why couples, like some couples, share their locations with each other, but I feel like knowing that he checks it regularly, that means he's told you before. He's like, why are you here?
Right.
You know? And I don't like that.
It's a little too, control-y.
And right when we were passing in the back alleyways between them, I put my phone on airplane mode, effectively freezing the location where it was shut off. We had an evil giggle and went right back home to watch some Sex in the City. I kind of feel like you just should have gone out, personally.
Yeah, why not?
I feel like it's more iconic to go through all of this out of spite.
Yeah.
And then go home.
Like, you're like, I didn't actually want to go out. I just wanted to piss you off. I feel like I'm the kind of, like, mess that would be like, and I'm getting hammered tonight. Yeah. So now you have to deal with that too. I had her check my location on her phone, and it looked like I was in one of the bars we'd driven past. I know this is a lot of effort, but when you're bored, you have the time. He'd seen her story, but I couldn't take my phone off airplane mode to check if he'd seen mine. I couldn't even see if he was messaging me or anything. So at 2 a.m., I turned my phone back on and saw a flurry of texts from him, as well as several missed calls asking what I was doing, if we should break up, etc., etc., etc.
Jeez, that's a lot of communication from a man who gave you radio silence all fucking day.
I think you should probably break up.
I think so as well. This doesn't sound very fun.
Bye-bye.
Obviously, I had gotten into his head, so I invited him over, even though it was the wee hours of the morning, and we made up.
Oh, no.
No. Boo.
Girl, no.
Tomato.
I was on your side for so much of this story. Until the
mean,
point at which you got back
Some people
together.
just really love doing toxic together, though. Like, these
Yeah.
people could be so happy and, like, waiting for the opportunity to fight.
I mean, sometimes,
You know?
yeah, those couples,
That's
they
true. Those
love that
couples-
crazy.
Make him
Love
work.
it.
Come to find out, he actually went to the bar searching for me, but seeing as I wasn't there, he never found me. And he doesn't know I was never there. Wow, you never even told him. I know we were toxic. I know that was an insane way of getting your boyfriend to break the silence, but hey, it works.
I mean, is he loyal to you? Does he make sure that you're taken care of? Like, is he respectful? These are things that I want to know, like, post.
My guess is no.
I would
Yeah.
assume no as well. Yeah.
Everything about this is not. I don't think that either of them.
I feel
are-
like giving someone the silent treatment when you know what they need communication-wise is a different level of, like emotional abuse almost. So that kind of tells
being
me.
passive aggressive is like,
Yeah.
it's not.
Well, to
Cool.
quote the great Whoopi Goldberg of Ghost, girl, you in danger.
Wow. Okay. And on that note, our next story. Our next story is from Becca, and it's What's Your Not My Proudest Moment story from the venting deck. I stalked my ex-boyfriend.
Hell yeah, you did, girl.
You know,
What happened, though?
I met Kevin my second year of college, and we were inseparable the following 3 years. We talked about moving in together after we graduated, and I'd been fantasizing about how we'd decorate our first place. Even the wedding and kids we'd have together. He was my first real boyfriend, the first and only guy I'd slept with. I was his first real relationship too, so I thought it would be forever. I do feel like first relationships, that's when you get real crazy.
I feel like the first one through, like, you haven't learned anything. You don't know
Right.
what's good, what's bad. You haven't learned from your mistakes. You haven't learned key
You don't know
lessons.
your communication styles.
Right, so you're like, this is all you know, and you're like, this is how we deliver this. This is how we talk about this. This is
You're
how we express
still-
ourselves.
Probably doing toxic things that you learn from your parents
Right.
and haven't unlearned
Exactly.
yet.
Just go to therapy.
As our senior year was coming to a close, Kevin and I started looking for an apartment. But each time we looked at a place that met our criteria for location and budget, Kevin shot it down. I got frustrated and said, "It's like you don't want us to find a place. Don't you want us to have somewhere to live? School is going to be over in a few weeks." He got quiet and dropped the "we need to talk" bomb. He told me he felt like he needed some time to be young and single and on his own. He realized he wanted to enjoy his 20s and not be tied down. Honestly, I don't think that's a bad thing.
I don't think so
for him
either.
to realize, but that does suck to be on the receiving
Yeah, yeah.
end of that information.
It is the most mature thing to do in this scenario.
Yeah. He said it would be best for both of us to try seeing other people and try being on our own. We could always get back together later if we wanted, but for now he wanted a break from our relationship and did not want to move in together. I feel like this is also very first relationship. You're
Yeah.
like, maybe in a few years we'll get back together.
I'll never forget that. My first boyfriend was like, "I will always love you." And I was like, "No, you're going to forget about me in 3 years." And I was right.
I was so shocked and angry. I stormed off and told him good luck with all that. I was so sure he'd come to his senses and we'd patch things up. We'd had fights before. I didn't see or talk to Kevin for a few weeks. Graduation came and went without a word, so I texted him congratulating him on graduation and asked how he was doing. I got a basic, "Thanks, I'm good. Hope you're good too." I couldn't believe
Not even the ask. He didn't even ask back. He just said,
He's
"Hope it's
like-
good."
He's like, "Please stop messaging
Yeah.
me."
He's like,
It
I'm with
sucks.
another
It's
girl right
obviously-
now. Can't talk.
I couldn't believe we'd gone from totally in love to him icing me out like this. I decided to move into a spare room at my older sister's house. That way, when Kevin came crawling back, I wouldn't be in a long-term lease and we could still get a place. I was very delusional.
Yeah.
After another month of radio silence, I sent him another text telling him I missed him and asked him if he wanted to grab dinner. We met up for dinner and it was like old times. He'd gotten an apartment with some of his friends from school, but I told myself it was fine. He could find a replacement for himself once we got back together and found a place for the two of us. I went back to his new place with him and spent the night. The next morning, he was all, "It was great catching up. Let's do this again sometime."
Oh, no. Oh, you were a booty call, babe.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I was like, WTF, he was treating me like a random hookup, not a girlfriend.
Because you're not his girlfriend.
Sorry, bruh.
I was furious, but still thought it was just temporary and that we'd work things out. I texted him a few times after the hookup, but he ignored me. I called him and it went to voicemail. Weeks later, he sent a short message that said, "Sorry, we probably shouldn't have hooked up. I really need my space." I replied, but he left me on red.
Honestly, at this point, that's the only way to do it. You just got to clean cut, make it obvious, because it's clear that the communication, like, obviously they fell back into what they were accustomed to.
Yeah.
It was nostalgic. They were comfortable. But if we're not understanding what we're saying in terms of, like, this is over, I feel like you just kind of be like, you know what? I got to just separate and stop talking.
I followed his Instagram obsessively. He didn't post a ton, but mostly it was pics of him with friends. He'd gone on a trip to Spain with his buddies and posted some pics of him hanging out with other women on vacation. I was losing my mind. I would try reaching out to him on occasion by phone or text, but he ignored me. Then one day I went to Instagram and he'd blocked me. The more he ignored me, the more obsessed I got. I made a new fake Instagram account to follow him again.
Girl, stop.
This time with a fake pic of a random hot girl stock photo.
This fall is going to be so hard.
Yes.
You are just, ugh.
I started hanging out at his usual spots, hoping to run into him. I camped out across from his apartment to watch for him coming and going so I could follow him and see where he was going and what he was doing.
When she said stalked my ex, I thought it meant just maybe on social media. This is full out stalking.
There is a restraining order coming your way.
That's coming your way.
I was ashamed of myself, but I just couldn't stop. I was heartbroken and angry, and I wanted him back so badly. Looking back, I think I was more obsessed with the idea of us than Kevin himself, but in my insane 22-year-old brain, these were the same. One night, I followed him to a cozy little gastropub around the corner from his place and watched him meet up with a woman.
Stop. Stop. Just, this is embarrassing.
Just simmer down.
I slipped into the pub after they went inside and watched them from the bar while they had their date. I was like, I can't believe he is cheating on me, even though I knew damn well we were not together anymore. Following Kevin around and stalking his Instagram became like a second full-time job for me. I was driving everyone else in my life crazy, complaining about him ignoring me and obsessing over him. All my friends were trying to get me to let it go, but I refused. A few weeks after watching Kevin on his date, I saw the same woman turn up at Kevin's apartment. I waited for them to leave, but after a couple of hours, I realized they were not going out.
Oh my God. This is not going to be good.
He lived in a cluster of bungalow duplexes with a big courtyard in the middle of the apartments. I decided to sneak around to the back of Kevin's apartment to try to spy on him. His bedroom was in the back of the place, and he had his shutters closed, but I got the brilliant idea to find an empty trash can to stand on so I could see over the shutters and into his bedroom.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you've gone full on, you're going to get arrested. I was trying to be as quiet as possible, but I slipped and fell on my ass with a loud thud and let out a yelp. Kevin flicked open his shutters and looked outside.
Oh.
I tried to stay down so he couldn't see me, but I heard him say, "Becca, what the hell?" Kevin slammed his shutters closed, and as I tried to leave, he caught me in the courtyard. Now he was pissed. "What are you doing here?" he demanded. I started crying and told him it was nothing and to forget about it.
Can't do that.
No.
He was like, "Have you been spying on me? You can't do that. We broke up. This has to stop." I kept crying and couldn't even look at him. I was like, "I know. I'm sorry. I'm leaving." I went home to confess about my embarrassing evening to my sister, who was like, "You are lucky he didn't call the cops. You are literally stalking him. You need to stop this immediately."
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I feel like that sense needed to be talked into her sooner, but I'm hoping, and it seems like this was her like wake-up call.
Yeah, I was like, sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom. Or,
Yes.
trash.
The ground.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah. And
Like
she
I said, the
really,
fall was not
literally
going to be
did.
good, and here we are. She literally fell on a trash can.
I knew she was right, and I was being insane. My sister brought up the fact that I'd been interested in a job teaching English in Japan before all this business with Kevin started, and she was like, maybe now is a good time to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah.
Love that.
See ya.
I went ahead and moved to Japan for the teaching job not long after that. My sister was right. I needed some distance and a fresh start. Going to Japan ended up being a great experience and the distance I needed to move on. Ironically, Kevin did contact me while I was in Japan, expressing interest in rekindling things. After she stalked you, bro? Come
No,
on.
she's outgrown it. She's
Yeah.
already had her obsessed
Yeah.
over you phase.
But now he knows. He's like, she really cares
She
about
really
me.
loves me.
Yeah,
That's true love.
That was her in America. She's in Japan now.
she's different.
She's minimalist.
But I was finally in a better place and didn't want to start back up again. I'd also started seeing someone in my teaching program anyway. When I look back on that humiliating period in my life, I can't believe I ever let a boy make me that crazy. Thankfully, I haven't done anything like that since. Lesson learned.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, I do think your first love is very intense and makes you a little bit crazy. So I think a
Definitely
lot of
makes you
people
crazy.
Yeah.
have kind of been here.
I mean, you don't know what the right thing to do is. You're just
No.
like, I'm acting on the emotion and the feeling I have, and I have no sense of guardrails to be like, okay, that's not a norm, or like, that's just not something people do.
All right. Our next story is from Adam, and it's, what's the most expensive mistake you've ever made, from the venting deck? I transferred schools to try to get back together with my ex after she ghosted me. I met Kimberly in high school and always had a huge crush on her. We would talk in class and had some friends in common, so we got to know each other pretty well. When it was finally time for senior prom, I did the classic teenager move and asked some of her friends if they thought I should ask her to go with me. They said yes, so one day during lunch, I decorated her car with balloons and a sign asking if she'd go to prom with me.
Aww.
I was delighted when she said yes. Prom was awesome and we ended up kissing. After that, we started dating for the rest of the summer. I fell for Kimberly hard and fast. I thought she was the one, and I couldn't wait to spend the rest of my life with her. Unfortunately, we were already going to different schools. We lived in San Antonio, Texas, and I was planning to go to UT San Antonio and live at home to save money, whereas Kimberly had gotten into Texas A&M on a volleyball scholarship. Even though both schools are in Texas, they are about 3 hours apart. Still, we were young and in love, so we agreed to make long distance work.
Been there, done that. I got cheated on 3 times. It's not for everyone.
Yeah,
Wow.
especially if there's no,
Yeah.
that sucks.
By the same
first of all.
person?
Well, yeah, I was 18,
Okay.
so we learned a valuable lesson about forgiveness.
The first semester was hard, but I made a point to drive to see Kimberly at least once a month. The first few visits were great, but once we got into November, I felt like Kimberly was becoming distant. She didn't text as often, and our late-night phone calls were basically non-existent. She came back for Thanksgiving break and things seemed fine, but then her communication became even worse. By the time winter break started, I was terrified she was going to dump me. During winter break, Kimberly seemed unusually busy with her family. When I finally was able to get some time alone with her, I asked if everything was okay. She tried dodging the question, but finally confessed that the distance was hard. Do you want me to visit more often? I asked, desperate to make things work. I don't know, she said. She was being really cagey and weird, so I finally asked the question I was terrified to ask. Are you breaking up with me? She started crying and said, this would be so much easier if we went to the same school.
Oh, no.
I can transfer schools, I tried to tell her, but she kept saying no and telling me that it was too expensive and that I belonged in San Antonio. I was like, I belong wherever you are, or do you not want to date me anymore? No, I still want to date you, she finally said. We kissed and made up, and I assumed everything was going to get better.
All of this stuff, he's putting in the effort right now. He was like, oh, should I come visit more? Should I transfer? Meanwhile, she's like,
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. And she doesn't want to, she's obviously too scared to
Yeah.
It is scary breaking up with somebody, but like you just got to do it. It's the kindest thing to do, to just be
Agreed.
straightforward and get it over with and not lead someone on.
Yeah.
Once Kimberly got back to school, our communication dropped almost entirely. When she did respond to me, she would tell me that she was too busy with homework. But on Facebook, she was posting tons of pictures at parties, so I knew that couldn't be the only thing she was busy with. I was desperate and still wanted to believe the distance was the only issue, so I applied to Texas A&M.
Oh, no. No.
My parents advised against it, but I told them I needed to be with Kimberly. Later that semester, I got a letter telling me I got in. When I sent Kimberly a message telling her I got into A&M, she never replied.
Wait, they're broken up at this point, right?
She has never told him that they're broken up.
Man, this guy made the sacrifice at what cost?
Apparently a lot.
I called her over and over again, excited to tell her that we could finally be together. Finally, she called me back, and I told her the big news. Oh, wow, was all she said. Aren't you happy? This means we can actually be together. Yeah, I'm really happy, she said, but she didn't sound happy. Kimberly came home for 2 weeks in the summer, and things seemed normal. We saw each other nearly every day and were hooking up and hanging out like we used to. But then she had to go back to campus for volleyball training. Once again, our communication basically stopped. I knew she was busy with training, so I tried not to let this worry me. When I arrived to campus when school started in the fall, I tried calling Kimberly to see if she wanted to hang out. She told me she was busy with practice. I tried again the next night, and she said she was too busy studying. The next morning, I logged into Facebook, and a bunch of pictures of Kimberly were posted from the night before. She had clearly gone to a party to drink. Even worse, in multiple pictures, she was all over some other guy. I was sick to my stomach and starting to realize I had made a huge mistake.
Yeah, but she kind of helped. I mean, if she had,
Absolutely.
that makes me so mad. Just say what you're thinking.
And,
Obviously, you don't want to be with him.
Going back over the summer and being like, oh, yeah, we
things
can
are
hook up and
great.
it's
Yeah.
fine. But, that's not what it means to him.
Right.
I called Kimberly multiple times that day and sent her messages on Facebook, but she never responded. I kept trying to contact her, but she went completely silent and then blocked me on Facebook. I had never been ghosted before and never been in love, so I didn't want to let myself believe it. But blocking me sealed the deal. We were officially done. I ended up finishing one semester at A&M and then moved back home. I had to take out loans for that semester, and by leaving UT San Antonio, had effectively given up my academic scholarship. So that meant taking out loans to go back to school there. Easily the biggest financial regret of my life, and not my proudest dating moment either. I should have seen the red flags from the start, but she also should have been brave enough to actually dump me. Yeah.
When someone gives you false hope, I mean, you can delusional your way into anything, being like, yeah, it'll fix everything.
Our final story is from Lisa, and it's What's Your Not My Proudest Moment story from the venting deck. I gave my crush a pet ferret as a symbol of my love. You know, ferrets. The perfect symbol of love.
You've never received a ferret bouquet?
No, I never received a ferret bouquet.
Get a load of this guy.
Nobody's ever loved him.
Nerd.
Yeah. Or I've lived in California for a while, and you can't have them here.
They are illegal in California, and hedgehogs as well.
Didn't know about hedgehogs, but I knew about ferrets.
Yeah, I don't...
Why are these things illegal?
Someone in the comments, let us know where are ferrets from, and why can't we have one?
Yeah.
When I was 20, I had a huge crush on this guy I worked with, Brian. We worked at a small diner that didn't get many customers, so there was a lot of downtime to talk and flirt with each other. I was kind of a late bloomer and hadn't had any boyfriends yet, but I really liked Brian and wanted that to change. Brian seemed to like me too, and one day he confirmed that by asking if I'd want to hang out sometime outside of work. I was ecstatic and told him yes, of course. We agreed to meet up and went to the park together. We had a fun little picnic, and then Brian kissed me and asked if I'd want to come back to his place. I was still a virgin at this point, but I was ready for Brian to claim my V card, so I said yes.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Whoa.
Get it,
Is
girl.
Brian a line cook? I'm getting a vibe.
yeah. Since I wasn't well versed in hookup culture at this time, I assumed having sex together meant Brian and I were going to be boyfriend-girlfriend. I went into work the next day, and things seemed mostly normal. I asked Brian when he wanted to hang out again, and he said he was busy the rest of the week, but maybe some other time. Girl,
He's a line cook.
He's a one-night stand.
Yeah. He has tons of time.
It's just
He
really
has
bad
options.
form
Yeah.
to just like where you eat. Like that's crazy.
That week came and went, so I asked Brian again if he wanted to hang out. This time, he told me he was too busy with school. Now I was starting to get a little concerned because if he was going to be my boyfriend, we needed to spend time together.
Also, he's probably not even in school.
I became more and more desperate, texting him constantly and asking if he wanted me to send him nudes, to which he told me he wasn't into that sort of thing.
Look, if a guy says, I mean, obviously, if you're considering privacy, security, sure. But if a guy's like, no, I don't want any nudes,
I feel like such an idiot looking back on it now. Then Brian stopped being scheduled at the same time as me. I asked my manager why she was doing that, and she said he had asked for a schedule change.
Oh.
You made it weird.
Yeah, messy of the manager to tell you that.
Yeah.
Messy. He said, I don't want her to hand deliver nudes.
She's being a creep. This is when I really started to lose it. I needed to show Brian how much I cared about him with a grand romantic gesture.
No.
On our picnic date, he had told me he really liked animals and wished he had a pet.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I would make his dreams come true and get him one.
Like, get him a goldfish. Yeah, like, if you're like, oh, I gotta give him I mean, like, yes, it is very weird to be like, I love you, and then give it to this person.
A fish? I would be, like, offended if somebody gave me
You'd be
fish.
offended or maybe offended. Am I right?
Wow.
Oh,
That was
classic.
so
Wow.
good.
Yes.
Fire him.
That was really good, Gabe.
Somebody
Thank
fire
you.
him. I went to the pet store to look at animals. A fish or a hamster seemed like a bad choice. They die too quickly, which I thought would be a bad omen for our relationship.
You know, Ferret's better.
She was going for longevity, you
Yeah.
guys. Come on.
I don't know how long ferrets live, but presumably
Longer than a goldfish.
Yeah. Then I saw the ferrets. I thought they were so cute. Their adorable little faces and lanky bodies also reminded me of Brian. So it
Yeah,
seemed,
he's a line cook.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a line cook.
Probably with a Coke addiction, too,
Uh-huh.
if we're being
Well,
honest.
Yeah.
they gotta have a Coke addiction.
Well,
Yeah.
otherwise,
You know?
are they even a line cook?
Right?
So it seemed like the perfect gift. I bought a ferret, some food, and a cage and went to Brian's apartment.
No.
When Brian opened the door, he looked understandably confused. He asked what I was doing there, and I told him I had something to give him. Then I presented him the ferret. He was like, "What is this?" "A ferret, for you," I said.
A ferret. For you.
For you, good sir.
It is a crystal. Nothing more, nothing less.
For me? He wasn't responding with the joy and excitement I had imagined, and I was starting to think I may have made a mistake. I tried to explain that he said he loved animals and I wanted to show him how much I liked him, but he stopped me and was like, "Why the hell would you give me a ferret? I don't want a ferret." "Well, he reminded me of you," I started to say. This made him even more angry. "I remind you of a ferret?" Yeah, because he's so long and cute, I said. Oh my god, long and cute, just the way everyone wants to be described.
Yeah.
He then started telling me that I was acting crazy and that's why he had to change his work schedule. I was like, why did you have sex with me if you didn't want to be my boyfriend?
Oh, no.
He just kept saying, I thought you were cool. Why the hell are you doing this? Finally, he slammed the door in my face, and I ended up going home alone with my new pet Ferret. Brian told a few people at work what I had done, and the news quickly spread. Some people thought I was insane, but a few people seemed to pity me and told me that Brian was an asshole and I was lucky to be done with him. Looking back, I realize it is completely nuts to give someone a pet. Especially someone who is actively trying to ghost you after you slept together once. But being dumb, young, and in love will make you do crazy things. I guess the silver lining is that I got a cute ferret who I named Carl and a funny story out of it.
And now she and Carl can live happily ever after.
Yes. That is it for Delve Deck Stories. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, you can like, subscribe, and check out some of our other videos. And if you have a story you would like to share with us, you can go to share.delvedeck.com and we might read it on an episode.